So thanks everybody for coming along today to this ProspectSoft webinar, Stock-Aware CRM, choosing the right CRM for your wholesale business. We're joined by Andrew Ardron, CEO at ProspectSoft, who's going to be running through a few slides for us in a minute or two. Just by way of background, ProspectSoft is a UK-based CRM and e-commerce company with more than 5,000 CRM users worldwide. They joined the FWD as a supply member last year, and we're delighted to help them with this webinar today. They work with hundreds of SMEs, wholesalers and distributors, and they style themselves as the #1 stock-aware CRM, especially for wholesalers and distributors. And they say that joining FWD was a great way to further demonstrate their commitment and expertise to the wholesale sector. 25 years experience in CRM, helping product businesses become more profitable and successful, and educational content like this is part of the reason why they're aligned with FWD, helping FWD members with advice and information. This is the first of the sessions that they've done with us. So I think without further ado, we will welcome Andrew, who will talk about CRM for different business models and how Prospect's Stock-Aware CRM helps B2B product businesses sell more products to more customers, which is what we all want to do. So, Andrew, the floor is yours.
Thanks, James. Thanks for that introduction. I'm Andrew Ardron, and I'm the CEO and founder of ProspectSoft. So today is all about CRM for wholesale and distribution, and I think the most important thing to get across in this is that there is no one-size-fits-all for CRM. That there are clearly a number of CRM systems that people are aware of, some big brands, and sometimes I think CRM is almost seemingly synonymous with Salesforce, but genuinely there is no one size fits all. These are three of the most well-known CRM systems, but the thing I want to highlight straight away is that this is a screenshot that's been taken from a software review site, just one of those sort of general sites where people can put their reviews. And if you look at the industries that those reviewers are in for Salesforce, Pipedriver, and Sitely, you know, the top industries are computer software, information technology, marketing and advertising, internet and financial services, and real estate. And that's kind of true for all of those top and most commonly used CRM systems. And there is not a wholesaler and distributor anywhere in those kind of key industries for those CRM systems. So what that is telling us is that while these are really popular CRM systems, they aren't necessarily popular and aren't necessarily built for wholesale and distribution companies. So that's really important to understand, that there is no one size fits all. And just to kind of perhaps emphasize that for anybody who doesn't believe me, if we look at some extreme examples of very different types of businesses, the likes of Tesco, Cineworld, British Red Cross, these companies won't be using Salesforce to sell their products. Tesco's, when they talk about CRM, they're talking about the Tesco's loyalty card, which tracks what you've been putting in your shopping basket and what you're buying and what you're not buying, and they try and capture a little bit of information about, you know, how old you are and where you live through their membership scheme, and then they'll sort of analyze that against what you're buying and build a lot of kind of customer demographic through their loyalty card. Nothing in Salesforce would help them to do that. Cineworld, again, you know, if you're looking at going to see the latest movie at Cineworld, nobody puts you into a Salesforce funnel and then tracks that opportunity through different stages. they just don't do that as a business activity. And the Red Cross, they'll have some kind of CRM solution that tracks donors and gifts and subscriptions, and they certainly won't be selling something in the same way that a software company might, or an IT company might. So I think having established that there are lots of different types of businesses and that those different kind of businesses need CRM, let's zoom in on wholesale and distribution and think about what is required for a great CRM for wholesale and distribution. So the starting point, I think, as I've already clarified, is understanding your business model. And clearly, wholesale and distribution is a business model. I think there's perhaps just one scenario that we should clarify here to try and help everybody think about what CRM requirements they've got. And that is that there are a lot of businesses that, on the face of it, are in wholesale and selling B2B products, but actually do a lot of service. And there are some service companies that do a lot of wholesale and distribution. So it is important to understand whether you've got a service model. So, if your business is selling coffee machines or lifts, and a significant amount of your revenue and your operation comes from servicing lifts or installing coffee machines, doing things like annual servicing, calibration, certification, selling maintenance contracts and repairs, then you're potentially a service business rather than a wholesale and distribution business, or a little bit of both, obviously. And if that's your business model, then your key requirements would be quite different to what we might consider to be a classic wholesale and distribution business model. And you might have requirements around scheduling service visits, booking call outs and emergency repairs, selling warranties and tracking service agreements, that kind of thing. And then, as a CRM requirement, you might look at a Salesforce Pipedrive that's kind of butchered with some kind of add-on around those requirements. Or there are some specialist CRM solutions for service requirements. And just one that I happen to know is a product called ServiceMate, or M8. And as I say, if your business is really around doing service, you might want to look at some of those. If you're doing a kind of combination of that and distribution, then unfortunately that means even more complexity. But I thought it was worth just highlighting that particular business model because there's quite a lot of crossover with wholesale and distribution there. But for the rest of this webinar, I'm going to really focus on classic wholesale and distribution. So that's business to business distribution of physical products. And I do tend to roll a little bit of manufacturing into this. So if you are manufacturing your own brand of products, then you're probably in this audience as well, because while you might be manufacturing your products rather than buying them in, ultimately you're then wholesaling and distributing your own brand of products. So let's look at wholesale and distribution in a bit more detail. So what contributes towards a wholesale and distribution business model? What does it look like? And then obviously we'll then answer the question, once we know what the wholesale and distribution business model looks like, what are the CRM requirements to successfully support that business model? So typically you'd find lots of long-term repeat customers for wholesale and distribution. One really important factor is that each month, 70 to 90% of the turnover will come from a repeat order to a repeat customer. And that's very different to somebody perhaps in real estate where, all of the turnover might be to brand new customers. Typically, we'd see high lifetime value. So, each customer is worth a lot over a period of time, but, relatively low value per order. So, a customer might be a customer for 10 years. And over that 10-year period, they might spend a lot of money, but each order that they place might be of a relatively low value. or certainly low margin compared to a real estate deal or a financial services deal or something like that. The customer does, however, typically, while there's a low value to each order, the customer does value your product, domain, and expertise in kind of advising them on what product they might buy, and then they buy it, repeatedly over time. The processes often include quotations with lots of product lines, which brings or orders with lots of product lines, which brings a kind of efficiency element into the business model and the requirements. And sometimes there's self-service ordering going on, but not always. Whereas you might contrast that to, for instance, a business to consumer or direct to consumer operation, where the ordering is nowadays almost entirely self-service through an e-commerce or a retail environment. So the thing that's interesting there is that I've made it clear that there's a very different business model for wholesale and distribution. And if I go back to the screenshot that I showed you before and slot Prospect CRM into that, you'll see that the companies leaving reviews for Prospect CRM are very different kind of businesses to Pipedrive and Salesforce and others. I won't go into all of these, but they're wholesalers, people selling mechanical or industrial products, packaging products, health, wellness and fitness products. So, we aren't just talking about a different kind of business model, but obviously our customers are recognizing themselves as having a different business model and needing a different kind of CRM. So let's dive into that business model a little bit more and then talk about the features of a CRM that are required to successfully support that business model. So what in that business model drives sales success? Well, first of all, day-to-day efficiency. That kind of volume of orders and the relatively low value, low margin on those repeat orders means that we need efficient handling of large and diverse customer base, of lots of products, lots of stock, lots of orders, lots of history, and we need to do a lot of tracking of order volume and turnover against targets. But as well as that kind of day-to-day efficiency, we also need a formula and a methodology for growing our business so that, month by month, year by year, we've got a bigger and more successful business. And in wholesale and distribution, there's a fairly straightforward formula for success. So more customers definitely helps you to grow your business inevitably. One thing that's important there is to make sure that we're getting a net gain in new customers, not just gross new customers. So we need to make sure that the number of customers we're acquiring is greater than the number of customers we're churning, so that we've got a growing customer base over time. And then it's the customers you've got, the number of customers you've got times the lifetime value per customer. And those are the two things that add up to business growth in wholesale and distribution. And I'll drill into lifetime value in a moment. But diagrammatically, the process is reasonably straightforward. You run a funnel in the same way as you might find a lot of CRM systems to drive opportunities through a funnel and get more customers out the bottom. And then you need to kind of build a flywheel, a set of processes that take each of those customers you've acquired and drive up the lifetime value of those clients. So if we drill into that a little bit further, this process of getting new customers is pretty straightforward and well known. You attract some interest to generate some quality leads. You go through a sales process of telling that customer why they should buy from you, quoting them, etc. And you close that customer to get a first order. And in that part of the new business process, wholesale and distribution is no different to any other business. Every B2B business goes through broadly that set of steps to get the first order from a new customer. The thing that's slightly different in wholesale and distribution is that then there's a key requirement to onboard those customers successfully so that you set them up for high lifetime value. So onboarding here means taking them from being a transactional customer who's placed their first order into being a relational customer that's repeatedly buying, and then hopefully into a loyal customer. And then this flywheel concept for lifetime value, is a pretty straightforward generation of lifetime value by maximizing the retention. So we keep the customers for as long as we can. We maximize the value of each order, so cross-selling and upselling different products, and maximize the frequency of orders, at least maintaining a regular frequency of ordering every month or every week, but in the ideal world, actually increasing that frequency. So if we can increase the retention, increase the value and the frequency of orders, then we will maximize the lifetime value of the loyal customers that we've achieved. And if we can do both of those things, get more customers and maximize the lifetime value, then we've really got a growing wholesale and distribution business model. So that's all brilliant in theory, but some of these things are easier said than done, especially when you've got a lot of customers, a lot of products, and a lot of data to analyze in getting there. And inevitably, that's why you need the right CRM system to help you to run those processes, help you to measure those things, and help you to drive those customers up. So StockAware CRM is all about that. StockAware CRM is a CRM system, much like Pipedrive, Salesforce, etc., but is specifically designed for wholesale and distributors, so that it really focuses on that business model of both the funnel to get new customers and then the flywheel to drive up lifetime value. One of the key concepts in all of this, and one of the key requirements, is actually integration to inventory management systems and ERP systems. Because if you're using any of these kind of products, so Unleash, N7 Deer, Katana as inventory or manufacturing systems, QuickBooks or Xero for your accounts, or any of these kind of ERP systems like Exchequer, Pegasus, Access, or Sage, then in those systems, you'll already have a whole load of data about your customers, your products, which customers are buying which products, which customers are buying more, which customers are buying less. You've got all of that data. What you probably don't have is you don't have it in the right format to drive that funnel and that flywheel. So a StockAware CRM system has got integration at its heart to pull all of this data out of these ERP systems or inventory management systems, analyze it, and help you to drive the processes that you need to be successful in sales. And I think it's probably worth mentioning that nowadays most businesses are running quite a significant tech stack of different products that all kind of operate together and work together to help to be successful. And here's just one example of that. So obviously, here we're talking about Prospect CRM sitting in the middle, and you'd already be using products like Microsoft Office, perhaps, and then Prospect would integrate with that to generate your quotes and to send emails to customers, perhaps MailChimp for volume email marketing, possibly something like Power BI for more complex analysis with the Microsoft BI tools, but also with products like Unleash for managing your inventory, your stock, and your shipping, and then products like Xero for your account. So, typically you'd be working with that kind of tech stack. So with that idea of integration, let's take a quick look at how that looks in the CRM system and how all that data is pulled together to drive these processes. So this is Prospect CRM, and it's a kind of classic CRM in terms of all the things that you'd expect to see in any CRM system. So obviously managing contacts and companies, sales opportunities, customer service problems, and that kind of functionality you'd expect to see. But what it's also got is a whole load of analysis that it's able to generate from the integration with your ERP or your inventory management system. So at its most basic level, it can see all the sales orders that are coming in, and you can see where those are going up or going down. And then more analysis on the customers at the very basic level. Which customers have we retained? Which customers have we lost? Which ones are increasing in revenue and which ones are decreasing revenue? So here we can see we've retained them all, but we haven't added any new ones, and that there are less customers increasing in revenue than decreasing. So, you know, that's a bit of a challenge for our business. And we've got these 6 customers that we've signed up. They're new customers, but we haven't successfully got them to become repeat customers yet. They're still in an onboarding process, and we really need to focus on getting them moved from being a transactional customer to being a repeat customer. Just moving on to another dashboard for sort of account management, looking at our existing customers. And here we can see some analysis. Classic, I won't get into this in too much detail. There's some links at the end of this webinar on this, but RFM, recency, frequency, and monetary value analysis, is a classic wholesale and distribution analysis system that allows you to segment your customers into champions, loyal customers, at-risk customers that you need to focus on, and customers who kind of stopped buying from you and are hibernating and that kind of thing, so that you can really target the right customers with the right messaging at the right time. Perhaps more immediately than all of that, I've also got the AI engine that's analyzing all of my customers, identifying customers who are regular buyers but haven't placed an order in the time frame that we've expected. So here we can see that Jamie Oliver's Kitchen should have bought some products from us recently, but haven't. And the AI engine expected that they would have placed their order by the 23rd of April, sorry, the 22nd of April, and it's now in early May. So we really need to give Jamie Oliver's Kitchen a call. So let's drill into their record. Obviously, I've got sort of contact details like phone numbers and things, so I can give them a call. I've got all the kind of history of all the notes of everything that's gone on with this customer, going back to year dot, so that I can kind of see what's going on. And I've also got some analysis that I can drill into, where it will show me their kind of ordering trend, sorry, their turnover trend, their ordering trend, which products they tend to buy from us, either by value or by volume, and some magic matrix analysis, which I'll kind of come back to. And so obviously I could give this customer a call. I could do them a quotation in a bit of Blue Peter fashion. I've got one that I kind of made earlier here, just to show you. I can build a quotation with all the kind of products and prices that we've got in our ERP system. And actually, when I'm building a quote, it'll even recommend products to me based on the fact that Jamie Oliver's Kitchen regularly buys these products. So perhaps I should put Blissfully Jam product on this quote. And then when I'm ready, I can send that quote to the customer, and they'll get a quote by email. And I talked about efficiency earlier. So there's a certain amount of efficiency in helping you to build the right quote. Well, know who to call in the first place, then helping you to build the quote with the products they buy regularly, and then sending the quote, but also actually collecting the order from the customer. And I'll touch on that in a second. But just before I finish the CRM, I'll very briefly go back to my dashboards and look at the magic matrix. So the magic matrix is helping me to build cross-sell and upsell. So it's analyzing my product categories. We've created magic matrix categories here. And you can see the green is telling me how many of my customers are buying multi-packs and how many are not. And in fact, it's telling me that not only are they not buying them, but because they're red, that means they're not even aware. I haven't even marketed to these 7 customers the multi-packs. And for jam jars, even worse, 6 customers buy jam jars regularly, but 21 customers are unaware that we even sell jam jars. So clearly I need to do a bit of work on that. And I can drill into the magic matrix to see this in detail. So I can see customer by customer, which products they're buying, which ones they're not. And I can even go through a wizard that would help me to build a marketing campaign to cross-sell and upsell these products. And if I go back to Jamie Oliver's Kitchen, and look at the sales analysis on an individual customer basis, I can also see that analysis when I'm talking to them. I can see which products they're buying and which ones they're currently unaware of. And then hopefully we can run some campaigns, make them aware, and then identify some sales opportunities, and then actively go about cross-selling these products to grow that lifetime value for this customer. Okay, just one thing that I decided not to demo, but just took some quick screenshots of, was this idea of efficiency, and just one example of being efficiency day to day. If this was my quotation that I'd created, put the products together, obviously I can email this quotation out to the customer by choosing the email address I want to send it to, and the customer would get some kind of email, whatever format we like, with the quotation attached or the details of the quote in the email, lots of different layout options. But they won't just get the quote. Optionally, you can send a quote with some approve and reject buttons, so they can actually approve the quote from their inbox, and that'll take them to a portal where you can set a few rules around this. If you want them to give you a purchase order reference, optionally, mandatory, perhaps you want them to pay for their order by Stripe, by credit card up front, or whatever rules you set, and then they can just finalize the approval of that, and that order will then be written into your ERP system, ready to ship, without the salespeople even having to touch the quotation ever again. And it's that kind of efficiency of process that helps you day to day. So, that was a very whirlwind tour of a stock-aware CRM, just trying to highlight some of the differences that hopefully you now recognize between a stock-aware CRM that's built for wholesale and distribution business model versus a traditional CRM that's more, to be honest, built for professional services, IT, financial services, etc. And just to summarize that, what we're looking for is getting more customers, and really that's all the usual CRM stuff, which is why I didn't really show you any of that. Efficient processing, so that your sales team are efficient, because typically in wholesale and distribution, we're trying to handle a lot of orders with this kind of quote to order workflow, and other processes in there. And then really it's about this growth engine, growing your lifetime value. And we talked about RFM segmentation, AI prediction of churn risks, AI driven report of missing orders that you need to chase in, the magic matrix to analyze your upsell, cross-sell opportunities and drive marketing campaigns based on that. And then setting goals and targets around not just activity, which you'd find in most CRM systems, targets around opportunities and leads, but targets around actual revenue generated through your ERP. And the final thing I would say on that is it's not just about the software. It's easy to go out and buy some software. It's also about then what you do with that software and making the most of it. And one of the other things that we talk to our customers about a lot is having a plan for the software, having a plan that's going to get you return on investment and make you more successful. So we have a growth playbook, which is really just a recipe that you can use for building your business step by step, starting with sort of things that require low investment and then finishing with things that take more effort, and starting with the things that are going to get you quick wins from your existing customers, and then building upon that with new relationships. I won't go into the details of this, but we've got a whole grid of processes that you can go through that start off by helping you to avoid a leaky bucket, maximize that lifetime value, and create a solid flywheel upon which to build your business. Then the steps to build a quality pipeline, and then really turn all of that into a repeatable, scalable, and profitable go-to-market engine. Does it work? That's always difficult to assess, but we all recognize the challenges that businesses were under in 2020. And a lot of businesses were in a lot of trouble. The economy itself fell by 9.9% in 2020 in that kind of 12-month lockdown period versus previous 12 months. But we did a comparison during that period, and we took all the customers that implemented a CRM system in the kind of first half of 2020 and compared their results in the 12 months prior versus the 12 months after. And despite the economy shrinking by 9.9%, those customers who implemented a CRM system during that period grew by 38%. So, arguably a difference of 50% when you take the decline of the economy versus the growth that's achieved. So that's pretty much the end of the presentation. If anybody's looking for more resources, you can find a lot more about StockAware CRM and what customers do with it and how it's different to traditional CRM at go.prospectsoft.com/StockAware CRM, and the links will be sent out after this webinar. But James, are there any questions before we wrap up?
Yeah, just a couple of questions, Andrew. So if a business is using a different CRM system, but they want to integrate into something else in a few months' time, say, can they use Prospect CRM in the meantime?
Yeah, so I mean, I think changing systems is something that kind of commonly happens. If you're changing CRM, you can take a free trial of our system and just kind of trial it against your CRM. If you're changing your ERP or your inventory management system, one of the things that we commonly help customers to do is, if you implemented our CRM system connected to your current ERP solution, let's say Sage, we can pull all of the historic data out of Sage. And then when you change your ERP to something like Unleashed or Sin7 or Deer or something, then you can switch your CRM connection over to that new system, and it will keep all of the history and continue to build the data using the new data coming out of your new inventory management system. So it can be a great way to keep that data over a period of time.
Okay. And what training do you offer to new Prospect CRM customers?
Yeah, that's a good question. So you can implement Prospect CRM all on your own. We provide an academy with a whole lot of documentation and guides and things like that. But we also we have an onboarding team whose job it is specifically to get customers up and running on the product, and they can help you through, a fairly quick sort of 4 to 6 weeks process of configuring the CRM, getting it all connected up, making sure you've got a plan for implementation, and then providing training as well.
Okay, that's good. And then finally, a sort of key question, really, how much does it cost?
That's a very good question. So we have a number of subscriptions. You can find the details on our website, prospectsoft.com/pricing. This is probably something I should have put in the webinar, but we have a startup subscription, which is £90 a month, fixed price, everything included, which is for startup businesses, and you can use that for up to 4 users with no incremental price, no extra charging for anything, just £90 a month. And then perhaps our most popular subscription is our professional, which is a per user subscription, and that is £45 per user. We do have an advanced CRM, which is £90 per user, but unless you've got some very specific requirements, or you're running a very big business, you almost certainly wouldn't need that. So, it's around that kind of £45 per user per month price.
Okay, that's fantastic. And if anybody wants to follow up or find out more, where do they go? What do they need to do?
Certainly Jess from our marketing team will be sending out some information to everybody who attended and those people who didn't manage to attend. But there's a bit more information either on our website or on some of the specific things I talked about. You can go to go.prospectsoft.com/RFM or go.prospectsoft.com/optimize_order if that's what you're interested in. And obviously you can go to our website to sign up for a free trial or book a demo.
Fantastic. All right, Andrew, thanks very much. Great to talk to you, and good luck.
Yeah, thanks, James. Good to speak to you. And thanks everybody for attending today.